If you'd like stronger legs without needing a lot of equipment, dumbbell leg exercises can be a great option. In this video, I'll show you my top 4 dumbbell leg strengthening exercises, plus variations of each. So let's jump right into the exercises. You can follow along at home. And if you don't have dumbbells, I'll put a link down in the description where you can get some adjustable dumbbells. And if you're just starting out, you can even practice these using just your body weight. So the first exercise is going to be a squat. There are lots of different variations of a squat. You can do it using 1 dumbbell or 2 dumbbells, but I'll start out showing just 1 dumbbell. To do this, you'll straddle the dumbbell with your legs slightly wider, squat down, and grab both hands on 1 dumbbell. Then you'll keep your knees turned out over your toes. This emphasizes your glutes a little bit more. You do want to try to keep your trunk relatively upright, but you are going to be inclined forward just a little bit. So to do this, you'll straddle the dumbbell, grab onto it, and then come up, then lower it back down to the floor. Notice you're kind of wide like a horse stance, or some would call it a sumo squat. So you're going up and down like this. Don't fully rest the dumbbell on the floor like you would with a deadlift. Just go up and down like that. Try to shoot for a range where you can do 10 to 12 repetitions. If you can do more than that, then increase your weight. You can also do a dumbbell squat with 2 dumbbells. For this, you'll use a relatively narrower stance. You'll grab the dumbbells, squat down, and then same thing, don't go completely down to the floor. Just go down into a squat and then back up. To see this from the side, you'll do a squat like this. Notice your knees go a little bit more over your toes. Since you have a narrower stance, this will emphasize your quadriceps or the front of your thigh muscles. Now to compare that, if you do just a single dumbbell squat, you'll straddle it, turn your legs out a little wider, squat down, and now this is more a glute dominant squat where your weight is more back on your heels and your legs are relatively wider apart. The next variation, we're going to bring the weight up above waist level up to chest level. The first variation is going to be called a goblet squat. For this one, you'll use just 1 dumbbell. Now, when the weight does get higher up, there's more instability to control. You need to control your trunk, and it raises your center of gravity, so you have to balance your trunk a little bit better. The goblet squat will be using 1 dumbbell. You'll grab around the bell itself, so you're going to actually have to grab around the weights, not around the bar. And then you lift it up to your chest. You're going to hold with your hands cupping it, kind of like a goblet. Then for this, you're going to squat down, keeping your forearms relatively vertical. If you keep the weight too far away from you, your arms are going to get really tired. So make sure you keep your forearms vertical. And then the technique is similar to the single dumbbell squat when it's down lower. Just note you have to control your trunk position a little bit more because the weight is higher. Another variation would be a front squat. When doing a front squat with a barbell, you hold it in a position like this. With dumbbells, it'll be similar. Now you do have to get the weight up to your shoulder level. If you're just using body weight plus a little bit of weight, this isn't all that hard. The heavier it gets, you do have to do more of a clean to get the weight up. So you'll grab onto both dumbbells like this, come up, and as you come up, you want to pull the weight up and then catch underneath of it like that. This is a little bit more of an advanced exercise, so I'm not going to include the clean in this video, but here's how you do it. So you'll come up, you'll pull and catch. Once you're in this position, you can do the front squat from here. To see it from the front, you can squat down like this and then come back up. Or to see it from the side, it would look more like this. Squat down and back up. So that was the first category of exercises, the squat. The next category is going to be a lunge. This automatically increases your weight because you're using just one leg as opposed to two legs. You'll have to use significantly lighter dumbbells than you would for a squat. The first variation that we'll go over is actually called a split squat, which is really just a stationary lunge. To do this, you'll grab the dumbbells and you'll stagger your feet like this. Then you're going to sit down with your weight through the front heel and then come back up, and you're just going up and down. I'd say 80 to 90% of your weight is on the front leg. The back one is really just more like a pivot and a balance point. So that's the split squat. Next, we'll add a little bit of movement in it. So the next one will be a front lunge, where you step forward and then push back up. Step forward, push back up, step forward and push back up, step forward and push back up. Try to do 10 repetitions on each leg. Now with a forward lunge, you come forwards like this, knee over toe, and then as you're pushing back up, you have to go not just straight up, but actually up and back. For that reason, this emphasizes your quadriceps a little bit more. And the next variation is called a reverse lunge. And this one will emphasize your glutes a little bit more. To do this one, you'll start with both feet together. Then instead of stepping forwards like a forward lunge, you'll step backwards. Now you're sitting more with your weight on your heel than on your toes. Your shin is relatively more vertical than it would be with a forward lunge. And then to come back up, you're pushing down through your heel, stepping back forwards, stepping back forwards, stepping back forwards, and stepping back forwards. So that's the reverse lunge. Now the next one is going to be by far the hardest of all, but it's one of my favorites, and this is the walking lunge. This is where you actually move across the room using dumbbells, so you're alternating one leg and then the other, moving back and forth. So with the actual dumbbells, it would look something like this. You hold the weights, you step forwards, go down, come back up, and then step immediately through. Come back up. Now I don't have a very long distance to go here, but ideally you do this down a long hallway or in a gym or even outdoors. And go down like that. And then you reverse directions again. And again, shoot for a weight that you can do about 10 steps with each leg. The third category of exercises is the deadlift. And this uses a combination of your glutes and your hamstrings. To do a deadlift, you'll turn the dumbbells and face up this way with them. Then as you're sitting back, you want to push your hips backwards to grab onto the dumbbells. You don't need your knees completely straight, but you also don't want to be down in a squat. So stick your hips backwards. Try to keep your spine in a neutral position. You don't want to round it out like that. You also don't want to keep it too arched. So tuck your spine into a neutral position, hip hinge, pushing your hips backwards, and you'll see the knees will probably likely bend a little bit. Grab onto the weights. Now as you come up, you're going to drive your hips forwards. This isn't a back extension type movement. You're actually engaging your abdominals to keep your trunk in a stable position while you're using your glutes and your hamstrings to extend your hips, driving your pelvis forward. So hip hinge down, grab onto the weights. Now you should actually be leaning back on your heels a little bit at this bottom position. Try to get the weights as close to you as possible. You don't want to be holding on out there. Then as you come up, you're going to drive your heels into the ground, push the hips forwards. So it'll look something like this. You want to try to push your hips through as quickly as possible and then come back down. Set the weights fully down on the ground so you have a dead stop, hence a deadlift, and then repeat. So hips through, come back down. Hips through, come back down. Hips through, come back down. So that's the deadlift. Now, progression on the deadlift, and this is more for balance and stability rather than pure strength, would be doing a single leg deadlift. For this, it's often good to hold a dumbbell in one hand, stand on one leg, and then you'll do that similar hip hinge type of motion. So it would be something like this. You'll stand on one leg, balance, and come back up. Balance, and come back up. Balance, and come back up. You will probably want to start with a significantly lighter weight, and if you do have balance issues, either do this just with body weight, holding on to something, or skip it completely until you're ready. Now, the last exercise is for your calves, and this is going to be a calf raise. Body weight calf raises are great like this. They're great for building muscle endurance, which you really need more than absolute strength for walking. But if you're a runner or a jumper, or you just want to build stronger, larger calves, then you will eventually need to add weight. But the technique doesn't change all that much. So you grab onto the weights, go up on your toes, and then come back down. Go up on your toes, and come back down. Go up on your toes, and come back down. Now, if you need to progress, you can obviously add more weight. If the weight that you're using is less than your body weight, then you can also progress by moving from 2 legs to 1 leg. And now you've essentially doubled the amount of weight that's on each leg. Then from there, if you can do single leg calf raises using just your body weight, you can then add weight to add additional resistance. However, you will probably want to use just 1 dumbbell because it is really hard to hold 2 dumbbells and go up and down on your toes and balance at the same time. So grab 1 dumbbell, hold on to a wall or a sturdy piece of furniture with the other hand, and then go up, and then come back down. Then go up, then come back down, and then go up and come back down. In addition to pure strengthening, that also gives your ankle some side-to-side stability, so it works on your side-to-side ankle muscles, not just your forward and backward ankle muscles. So those were the top 4 dumbbell strengthening exercises. And just to review the broad categories, those were the squat, the lunge, the deadlift, and the calf raise. Now, hopefully you did find this video helpful. If you'd like more exercise tips, check out this playlist over here. But before you go do that, if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you can get notified of our future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.